Happy Thursday and welcome back to Roundtable. I'm Abby Roberts, your district executive.
And I'm Jennifer Whitaker, your district director.
Is your unit's recharter complete? There are still a few units in our district whose recharter is not complete. If you're one of those units, your scouts currently are not covered under our insurance and your scouts cannot earn rank.
If you're a leader in one of the following units, please contact myself or Abby immediately. There is something holding up your recharter. Could be youth protection training, could be that we're waiting on applications for someone, but these are things that need to be cleared up right away so that your youth can be earning the ranks that they're working on.
Come celebrate with us the Eagle Scout Class of 2018, the Summit Award Class of 2018, and the Silver Beaver recipients on Saturday, April 13th at St. James Catholic Church in Hobstadt.
Check-in will begin at 12:15 and program will commence at 1 p.m. A reception with cake and punch will follow.
We will also be celebrating the winners of the Mary E. Julian Scholarship, the Buffalo Trace Council Eagle Scout Scholarship, and the recipient of the Eagle Scout Project of the Year Award. So we hope you can join us. There's something else going on, right?
Exactly. Don't forget, we're having the Wood Badge Reunion on the same day as the Council Court of Honor. It will take place prior to the Council Court of Honor. Fellowship begins at 11 o'clock. We'll have a lunch and program, and then everyone who comes to the reunion will get to go to the Council Court of Honor for no additional charge. Your fee will include that event. And then we'll all celebrate together with cake and punch afterwards. We will be celebrating some of our newest Wood Badge bead recipients on that day, and we're going to be raising money for the next class.
Yeah, those new recipients will be getting their beads. They worked really hard over the past 18 months, and I'm sure they would love to have your support. When would your unit like a volunteer to come tell the scouting story? It's not too late to hold a Friends of Scouting presentation if your unit hasn't already done one. All the money is raised here and spent here.
If your unit raises an average of $35 per active scout, you're going to receive free rank badges from the scout shop for the rest of the year. And if your unit raises an average of $50 per active scout, you will receive free rank badges and free advancements for the rest of 2019. You can contact Abby to schedule, and if you have any questions about what it means to get free rank versus free advancements, we'd be happy to clear that up. But really, the scouting story, it can help you also recruit parents into being in volunteer positions within your unit. So even if you don't think your parents are going to be able to give, they might surprise you, and some of them, maybe that's the only way that they can contribute.
Cub Scout families, save the date for the exciting Parent and Pal Weekend, which will be held on Saturday, May 4th through Sunday, May 5th at iCamp Scout Center. This year's theme is Build It.
This is going to be a really great experience for your scouts. We've got displays of what the kids will be building in the office right now. So if you come into the lobby, you're going to see some really cool wood structures that the kids will actually be building at this adventure overnight program. Tigers will build a tray, wolves are going to build a table, bears will build a really cool treasure chest, and the Weeblos are going to build a chair that they're actually going to be able to sit in. Don't miss out on this fun weekend. The value that you're getting for the fee is really fantastic.
And what a great excuse to spend the whole weekend with your kid.
That's always what scouting is really about.
Travel to another place in time with us at the Land of Lost Legends Cub Scout Day Camp, Wednesday, June 12th through Friday, June 14th at iCamp Scout Center again.
So your scouts at this event are going to be able to break geodes open to see what's inside. They're going to dig up fossils, shoot BB guns and archery, and so many more activities that our day camp team is really planning. So to make it very exciting for your scouts, we're trying to get the helicopter back again this year. I don't know if that's going to happen.
We're trying. We've got a few more hoops to jump through.
We are excited to announce.
Yes, we are having Angel Mounds visit us on the first day of camp, and they will be running a program all day for our scouts to learn about the native peoples who lived in this area before us.
And now, is it true that the fire department's going to be back on Friday?
We have asked. They usually don't turn us down.
The scouts love to come out on Friday for the fire department display, and I'm pretty sure the firefighters enjoy that activity just as much. National Youth Leadership Training, commonly called NYLT, is an action-packed program to strengthen youth members' leadership and communication skills. Scouts and Venturers 13 years of age and who have achieved first-class rank and hold or will hold a position of leadership in your unit are really encouraged to come and take this course June 9th through 14th up at Old Bend Scout Reservation.
We now have 3 girl troops in our council, and those new girls who are in Scouts BSA troops can attend NYLT without being first class rank in 2019 only.
Online registration is now available. Get signed up before the rate goes up.
Be sure to check out the links in the description below and the need to know page for all this information written down for you.
If you have topics that you'd like us to cover, let us know. You can also leave questions in the comments section. We'll answer them as soon as we can.
And if you are working on a leader training award and would like credit for attending this roundtable, be sure to put your name and unit number in the comments below, and we will track that for you.
Today's topic is getting ready for the fall. So here to talk with us about planning, budgeting, and fundraising is our district member at large, Joe Day.
But first, a membership minute.
Hi, this is Tanya, and I'm the membership chairman for Native Trails District. And I want to talk to you today about having a summer plan for your unit. Having a plan and some activities during the summer is key to retention, and we want our members to stick around for the next fall. And one thing is to have a really cool event in the fall right before school starts. So something really interesting in August would be awesome. The other thing is we want to make sure that we're training our leaders to get ready for our membership drive in the fall, especially pack leaders. And if you've been to some trainings in the past, this year will be a little bit different. So we want to make sure that you come back to those again. And also, if you feel like you know it all, and maybe you do, maybe send somebody else. Send an assistant cub master, or your new member coordinator, or your next generation of leaders. Send someone from your unit to our training this summer, so that they are ready for our fall membership drive. There'll be 2 trainings available, one in Posey County on June 25th and one July 20th at iCamp Scout Center. And make sure you stop by our booth at the Ideal Year of Scouting to pick up some more information. Thanks.
So now I'd like to welcome with me Joe Day. He's a member of our district committee. He's also a very well-rounded leader. So tell me a little bit about your experience in scouting.
Absolutely. Well, I'm assistant Cub Master with Pack 369 in Newburgh, the assistant Scout Master with Troop 301 at Methodist Temple here in Evansville. I'm an Eagle Scout, Air of Light holder. I've been in scouting for over half my life. Love it. There's a lot of great opportunities for scouts of all ages, and it's just fun activities and everything else that people can do.
And really, both of your units, the Cub Pack that you've been involved with, the troop that you're involved with, have really been really great program units. And so we wanted to have you come out today and kind of help us tell other scouting troops and packs how the best way is, what's the best way to go about your planning period.
Absolutely, and we always want to make sure that our scouts are having fun, and so putting together a great program is a wonderful way to do that. And so we always start off with trying to find ideas, doing some brainstorming of what can be done. And a great way to find ideas is going to the Ideal Year of Scouting that is hosted by the council here, to go out and find out what activities are available in the area, outside the area, and what is possible for our units to do.
And the council puts a lot of work into the Ideal Year of Scouting. This year we are changing the location. So our Ideal Year of Scouting will still take place on the first Thursday in May. So it's May 2nd at the YMCA downtown. That is a new location. It will be free to all of our unit leaders. So any unit leader that wants to come out and see what kind of programs are available to them, they can come. So we bring in several council program committees to talk about training, advancement, membership, and all kinds of things that are going to help you in your unit plan your ideal year. We also bring in camps from outside of our council. We bring in different vendors and organizations like the Red Cross, so we can learn about service projects and programs in the area that will help your unit have a strong, successful program for the year.
And it's a great place for new ideas. A lot of times with scouting, we kind of get into routines, especially as leaders, that every year we're doing the same thing over and over again. So the Ideal Year of Scouting is a great place to be able to find new activities and new ideas maybe you haven't done before.
And talk to other leaders and get more ideas.
Lots of great networking opportunities in Scouts.
Yeah. So now that we've gone to the Ideal Year of Scouting, we have some really great ideas. What's the next thing you're going to do with your unit?
next thing is we're going to sit down and we're going to gather our leadership together, get some volunteers put together also, ream in some of those parents that would like to help out, and start to pick through the different ideas, to have discussions and figure out which ones make the most sense for our unit, which ones we think the Scouts would enjoy doing. And at the Scouts BSA level, I think it's important to have the conversation with the Scouts also. They're at the age where they can make some decisions of what they would like to do. Have them give their 2 cents, give their input, and then you're able to really have them embrace the program a little bit more.
So your annual planning conference is going to be the time of the year where you bring in your parents, some of your Scouts, your leadership team, and really kind of work out what your calendar plan is going to be. What programs do you want to do? What things do you want to always do, keep in rotation? What things do you want to try new? And then put those all together in a calendar and see where they fit. The more people that are engaged, the better off you're going to make sure your calendar is going to fit with your family's schedules, and it's also going to really give you an opportunity to kind of get different interests and different ideas. So the more people, the merrier for this activity.
Absolutely, and with that also you get the opportunity to, with some of the planning, those activities, if you can get them put in place, of you can get some additional help from some of the leaders and some of the parents, of maybe they'd like to help plan the actual activity and maybe register for or reserve the campsite or something along those lines if that's necessary. So it's always great to be able to pull in some new volunteers.
And I also find that if your parents are engaged in the planning process, they're not as likely to complain whenever you're doing something that they were part of planning.
Very important.
So now we've got our calendar planned, or we've got some ideas. What's the next step in our planning process? Or what would maybe some other pointers be?
Well, one thing that's very important to think about is how are you going to pay for the program that you just put together for the year. And so taking a look at budgeting. What budget do you currently have? Is it enough to cover the items, the activities that you're planning on doing? If it's not, then taking a look at what needs to be done. Is it time to look at doing a fundraiser? Is it something where for that specific activity, so they'd have to charge individually for that? Or what are the next steps to be able to make sure that that activity can take off?
And one of the things I would really recommend when you're planning your calendar is, first of all, think big. So don't just do what you've always done. What do you want to do? What are the things that will really take your program to the next level? If we can start thinking about where can we go if we do the right fundraising, let's think about that.
Well, I think with thinking big, a good thing to think about is what are the Scouts going to be talking about the next time that they're around? What memories are we wanting to create for those Scouts, so where they can say, okay, hey, that's something I really like that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. And I think that's important for scouting to have those lifetime memories on that.
And I would always plan in like a tiered structure. So if you hit X fundraising level, then you can do these things. But if you go a little bit beyond that, where can you take your Scouts? And I think that's something to really consider. I know we were fortunate to have a really good fundraising program, so we were able to take our Scouts to the City Museum in St. Louis, and almost all of our parents and Scouts were able to participate in that activity. It was a really big deal for our pack.
Yeah. And an easy way to look at budgeting and things along those lines is also to look at, do you budget as a per Scout item? Is it a per family item? Is it a per activity item? And try to take a look at those things. That way you can figure out, okay, if we're going to go to City Museum in Evansville or in St. Louis, it's going to cost X amount of dollars. How do we divvy that up, and how do we kind of figure those things out to be able to look at the budget? Because as you dream big, sometimes you can dream really big and all of a sudden find out that you need $100,000 to be able to accomplish everything you're looking for this next year.
I think you'd do it for less than that.
That may be a little tough to do if you're going all over the United States, but you can find out ways to be able to raise those funds.
So next up, we're going to really look at how we budget for those programs that we're planning. So now that we've done all the brainstorming to really get some really good program ideas for the calendar, we need to start thinking about our budget for the year. So first, we really need to consider, like, what is our unit? So units do things differently sometimes. So some units might pay for the leader registration. You have a tendency to get more volunteers if the parents don't have to pay to be leaders. So keep that in mind. You may also want to consider reimbursing your leaders for training. What are some other things that you might consider? Maybe for crossover.
Well, and I think depending on what the budget is and things along those lines, do the activities need to cost anything at all for the Scouts? Maybe it's something where only you're charging for tag-alongs or anything along those lines, people that are not actually registered members of the unit. But I do think it's very important, the training portion of it, to make sure, especially as you're planning, there's a lot of events you have to have specific trained adults for, such as camping. If you don't have proper training, you're not allowed to go camping. And so make sure that you're reimbursing leaders for that so you can get more people trained. Makes it a lot easier to be able to plan events so you have trained leaders ready to roll.
Some other things that aren't really in your calendar, but you might want to consider as you're doing crossover events or graduations. If you raise enough money, you can give your youth the book as they're going up to the next level. If they're crossing over from Weeblos into Scouts, they may be getting neckerchiefs for your troop. Things that you should probably look at or that you need to include in your budget in addition to training and registration fees. I would highly encourage units to look at what do they need to do so that there's not another registration fee for the youth in their program. So if you've been in that program, you've participated in fundraising, can they pay for your recharter the next year? Can they pay for your parents? Can they pay for all your activities? That is the perfect point.
Absolutely, and I think fundraising can really help out with a lot of that, and putting those goals out there, make sure that you understand what the unit's going to be reimbursed for from that fundraising to say, okay, if the Scout raises this amount of money, then the unit's going to make this much off the fundraising, and so therefore it can cover the rechartering dues, and it may be something where you can cover books, can cover different types of supplies and such.
Incentives for them to stay.
Incentives, that's a good one. Incentives for different things, whether it be maybe a first aid kit or a mess kit, something along those lines are always great things that can be used throughout Scouting.
So as you're looking at your calendar, and this is a really good way to divvy up jobs and make everyone participate in the budgeting, you want to look at each event. So if you're going to go bowling or you're going to go to an outing or on a camp out, what is it going to cost for one scout? So you want to find out your per scout cost for each activity that you put in the budget. Your per scout cost might just be for that scout. It might be for a scout and a parent. So the more money you can make, then more likely your kids are going to participate in the program. For instance, if you have a Cub Scout pack and you want to take every kid bowling, well, you don't want to have 4 leaders taking 30 kids bowling. So let's consider paying for a scout and a parent to go bowling. Then we are encouraging parents to participate with their kids in the program, which is kind of the purpose.
Very important.
And then we're also getting those parents to come along because it's not going to cost them more money to participate with their child.
Yeah, and I think with that, in the planning process, we talk about dreaming big and looking at that. And so I think when you break down the each different item that's on your calendar and looking at, okay, what's that item, what's that activity going to cost? Think about what if we took it to the next level. So if you went bowling, what if you bought each kid a bag of popcorn and a soda? What would that cost? And be able to include some of those different things, especially if you're going camping. You want to make sure you're covering your food costs and different things along those lines. If that's something that if it's a pack, a lot of times the pack's going to cook for the entire pack. If it's a troop, the troop usually will cook for themselves, but who's covering those food costs and different things? And so it's important to look at each activity and say, okay, what are all the different things that are going to cost money on this? So you can get that per scout or per family budget item and get that put together.
And if we can sell our parents on, hey, you're going to pay this initial cost to join our program, but if you participate in the fundraisers, you can do the rest of it for free. I mean, that's a really great recipe for retention.
Absolutely.
So once you get that per scout cost, you're then going to take that per scout cost times the total number of scouts that you anticipate you're going to have in your unit for that next year. Typically, a Cub Scout pack will double in size from their membership in the spring once they do their recruitment in the fall. So you're planning for that next year. So take your spring membership, double it, and then figure out your budget from there. When you start planning your fundraiser, then you're going to use that total budget to determine what your goals are going to be.
All right, so now we've done the planning, we've put together the budget for all the activities we've planned. So now we need to set our goal of how we're going to pay for everything of the budget for this year. And so a great way to do that is naturally with fundraising and being able to figure out how much money we need to hit that budget. And so one thing that's important to do with fundraising is make sure that you add a little extra money on top of what you're fundraising for. Usually 5 to 10, maybe up to 15% to cover some prizes. So not only do you want to cover the budget for the activities, but you want to make sure for fundraising that we're able to reward the scouts for all their hard works and effort.
I highly recommend popcorn for your fundraiser. So while you're doing popcorn trails in, and the council will provide a lot of incentives to keep your scouts selling, and then we would recommend that PACs might find ways to recognize top sellers each week or for the wholesale. So use that money that you budget in to really identify those scouts and keep them motivated to go throughout that sale.
Yeah, it is amazing what some very inexpensive prizes will do to motivate a lot of scouts to be able to keep them going and pushing on for those extra dollars to be able to increase the program that much more.
So how do we plan our budget or our fundraising goal once we have our budget set? So we take that per boy or per scout cost, and we're just going to take simple math. So let's say your per scout for the whole year is going to cost about $300 per scout. You're going to take that times the 5 to 10%, so it's going to bump us to $315 per scout for our fundraising goals. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take that times what we're going to keep. So if we're going to keep about 30% of what we're raising, we're going to take our $315 times 0.30, and that's going to tell us exactly what our goal needs to be for our fundraiser for the year. So a $300 goal for a scout would then cost us about $1,000 in fundraising. It seems high, but if you get the parents on board with all of the things that you're going to cover, $1,000 is really not that hard to get to whenever you're doing show and sell booths and other door-to-door activities to sell.
Absolutely, and with that, taking a look at different prize levels and things along those lines is a great thing to be able to say, hey, if you achieve this level, then we're able to offer these prizes. So with that, if $1,000 is what you're hoping every scout raises, some scouts will hit there and some won't. And so trying to be able to plan for those scouts that are actually going to overachieve is a great idea. So if they hit the $1,000, then maybe they get one prize. So if they're able to sell $1,300 or $1,500, then they're helping to cover some of the other scouts. And so maybe there's some additional prizes that would make sense for them.
Well, and a $1,000 level is a really great level for incentives at the council level. They're going to get to go to several different offered activities that are free to them and invite the whole family, the movie, usually a couple of games throughout the year, the Otters overnight, some other activities as well. So in addition to that, you might set goals at $1,500 to really get them to the scout shop certificate that they're going to receive and some other things. So putting goals in between will really encourage them. Well, I'm not that far from the X goal, so I'm going to go ahead and get that $100 for the scout shop.
Absolutely. So once you know your per scout goal and you've got everything put together, then you're ready to kind of move on from there.
And so the next step is communicating our plan.
All right, so you've planned your calendar, you've set a budget, you've set your goal to be able to achieve that budget. So now it's a matter of communicating with the parents and scouts of everything that's going to be going on. And so it's very important that you keep in mind that you're communicating to two different sets of people. So with scouts, you want to encourage and talk to them to communicate the excitement, all the fun and activities they're going to be doing.
With the parents, you want to talk about the money that they're going to save by participating in the fundraiser, the values that their kids are going to get by participating in scouting, and the value that they're going to actually get from participating in the fundraiser and the lessons that they're going to learn from being told no, from talking to adults and looking them in the eye, and so many more skills that they're going to achieve just by participating in the fundraiser.
Absolutely. And so, kind of an example, you want to make sure when you're talking to the scouts that you actually are not only talking to them about the excitement, but you're excited about it. Saying, hey, we got the Pinewood Derby coming up, and we're going to be able to earn prizes, and we've got different awards you're able to earn. You get to build a car. Can't necessarily say that they're guaranteed to be able to use power tools. It's up to the parents. But that could be some fun things there. Or talk about the next camp. Hey, we're going to be camping here, and here's some of the fun activities we can be able to do. So you want to make sure you have a level of excitement that you're portraying to the scouts, also get them excited about the event.
And as you're getting the scouts excited about the event, you also want to kind of be working in lessons about the fundraiser. So one thing that I've seen PACs do in the past, or troops have probably done as well, they create games around the popcorn sale or whatever fundraiser they're doing to kind of incorporate the things that they need to know. So I've seen a PAC that had a tag game where they had to learn the prices of the popcorn and get them right on the board, and they were doing a relay race. So things like that make it fun to learn the things that they need to know when they're going to a door or at a storefront.
Absolutely.
And also another thing to consider is the different levels. So as you're scouts, if their scouts aren't going to hit that $1,000 level that we set, you know, you might want to have some levels lower than that. So if you get to X level, or let's say bronze, maybe you get your registration paid for the year and participation in X number of activities. If you get to the silver level, the medium level, you're going to get all of those things from the bronze level plus the activity, the big activity at the water park, or, you know, and go up from there. So whatever your calendar's planning, maybe you tier it so that everybody can earn something, even if they're not going to be able to make it all the way to the biggest goal.
Absolutely, especially with Cub Scouts. The Cub Scout motto is do your best, and so we want to make sure we're encouraging all the Scouts to do their best and be able to achieve something for the best that they've given.
So communicate the plan, different audiences, excitement for the kids, lessons for the parents, and then make it fun and try and tier it for the different fundraising levels so that they all feel excited and they're not, suddenly they don't just turn off from the very first start. All right, so step 5, we've done the planning, we set the budget, we set the goals, we've communicated what our goals are to the parents and the scouts in a way that's going to excite them. Now what?
Now it's the easiest part of the whole bunch. Earn the money. So now we just need to put the plan in place, put it together, and be able to go out and start earning the money. And so it's a great idea to have a kickoff for your fundraising events and things along those lines to make sure that you can re-energize everybody after you've gone through the planning and everything and say, okay, now it's time to actually go earn the money. And
basically it. You're just going to go out, set your goals, get out there and earn the money. I would really encourage you to try and stay energized. I know the popcorn sale, it's really a 5 weekends, 4-week timeline. So really about second, third week in, your parents might be getting tired of all the storefronts. Try to keep them energized. It's a very short window when you're looking at all the exciting things you're going to get to do after that sale is over. So remind them throughout the sale what you're working for and try and keep the energy level up for that period of time.
Yeah, and continue to communicate all the goals that you have and where you're at towards your goal. If you wait till the end of the sale to say, okay, we hit this, then there may be a few people that said, oh, if we would have just tried a little more or gone out and done one more storefront or gone and knocked on a couple more doors, we would have been able to hit that next level and really be able to complete the budget. And so one way to keep the excitement going is to have some way to be able to show what your progress is, whether it be a thermometer that you're filling in as you sell up towards your goal or something else along those lines.
And then also it's really good to kind of show where the scouts are falling in that line, because you know, if there's 2 or 3 scouts that are kind of neck and neck, somebody could really pull ahead with that last ditch effort at the end of the sale.
Absolutely.
So, all right, and then the last part, the most exciting part, after we've earned the money, we get to implement the real plan.
That's right. We get to use that money and be able to do those activities that we planned for at the beginning of the year and be looking at how we can spend our ideal year of scouting.
The purpose of scouting is to get out there and do some really fun things with our kids, with a community of like-minded adults and youth. We're picking the friends that we want our scouts to have in the program, and then we're able to do some really fun things. You can make lifelong friendships through scouting by participating in a really good calendar planning session.
Absolutely.
Well, that wraps up our planning for the calendar. Thank you so much for coming in, and thank you for watching.
Hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the next one.
I want to be a scout because I want to go hiking because I never went before. I love scouts